Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hopefully you guys are having a good Monday. This was a very intense weekend. There was a lot of market manipulation. There was a lot of losses from a lot of people, including myself and friends, people on Twitter. A lot of this has caused a huge impact. A bunch of people left and most likely they're not going to come back until the next cycle, maybe ever. So let's get on with the video so we can dive more into it. So a very crazy Friday. There is not much to say, just like Trump did for the first tariffs, which was in April. It is a very smart, I don't agree with that, but a very smart idea on his side to tweet or to post on his social media platform about these tariffs on a Friday when the market is closed, when the stock market is about to close, because then the market's just going to do its thing, and whoever gets in early, like we saw, not only for crypto, but also for the stock market, they can get better entries on it. So this tweet on Friday created a huge cascade effect, which caused Bitcoin to go all the way to $101,000. We saw Ethereum at 3,400. We saw XRP going at around $1 and something. Solana going back, I think it was to 150, 130. Everything went low. Atom went to 0.001 cents, and someone was able to fill an order at that price, and then it went back to $2.58. So someone made a huge return on that. Anyways, the repercussions now are because there was an insider, someone who opened a Bitcoin short before that happened, a Bitcoin and an Ethereum short before that happened. Total deposits was $110 million. So he got in with $110 million and he got out with $159 million, almost once $160 million. So almost 50 million in profit in a matter than just a few hours, because he got in on October 9th. On October 10th is when Trump did the that information, and then this person started exiting their shorts at the very bottom with a bunch of limit orders. I've been through all of the transactions on Hyperliquid, and the person got out with $160 million, cashed almost all of it, and actually now is going back to shorting Bitcoin once again. So not shorting Ethereum anymore, but now shorting Bitcoin at around $117,000 average price. So there's still a very large open order here on Bitcoin, but this person already cashed out. I think it was 60 plus 70 million overall. And then there's still a few million left, which are still shorting Bitcoin. So who is this person? There's still a lot of speculation. I even said this could be, Nancy Pelosi, Barron Trump, but there's a connection with older wallets and older transactions from years ago. So most likely we're going to get through this, maybe even this week. By next video, we should know who this person was. There was an insider trading doing all this dirty work. We saw on stocks, someone buying AMD calls before the AMD announcement and making 18 million in a matter of few hours. This was just last week. So there is a lot of insider trading happening under Trump's government. Most likely Trump or the Trump family made some money out of this, which goes to say that it is not just crypto that is so volatile, so manipulated. No, also stocks are being very manipulated. There's a lot of insider trading happening, and that hurts the overall rest of the market, which is not able to keep up. In the last video on Friday, I said that it was around $19 billion liquidated. So the numbers that I see right now is 50, 80, someone even said $100 billion, because we cannot know, since centralized exchanges don't provide that liquidation data, or they're not very transparent sharing how they calculated that liquidation data. And others like decentralized exchanges, they're on the blockchain. So they're very transparent. You can see through all of the data yourself and do the math, but it doesn't make sense, for example, for Hyperliquid to have liquidated $10 billion and Binance to have liquidated only $2 billion. That does not make sense, really does not make sense, especially, for example, that Atom liquidation that I told you, someone buying at 0.001, that happened on Binance. So there is something to be done regarding that, maybe more transparencies on the side of centralized exchanges for better data, for better numbers, for more realistic numbers. So these numbers that we have right now are very incomplete and fragmented. Other than that, the markets seem to be recovering, or at least losing less money, because we're seeing some uptrends on the macro will still look very, very good. So let me take a look right here at CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin right now is at 115,512. Ethereum is at 4,100, almost 4,200. BNB was held very, very strong on this. It went below the 1,000, but it went back up very, very fast. You can see it's the only one that kept green here on the 7 days. Then we have Solana almost back at the 200. 500s. We have Dogecoin suffering quite a lot. Hyperliquid actually going below Ethena now. Ethena, which had a huge DPEG here in the weekend. So it lost its DPEG, but then it went back at $1. And we have a Hyperliquid, which went to 25 or 22, if I'm not mistaken, liquidating a lot of people, but some people got in at these prices, which I don't think we'll ever see again on Hyperliquid. So very, very good on their end. And the Fear and Greed, which shows 54 right here, is actually neutral, but yesterday it was fear. We saw 31 here yesterday. Now we're going back towards the 40. And if we look at the charts on the daily, it looks super ridiculous with this candle, with this huge wick all the way to the 101. But here on the macro, especially if you go to the weekly, we still look good. And most of all, we're still above the moving average. So we should start to see some movement on the upside this week, and maybe look at the top of the Bollinger right here. Once again, if it wasn't for this really bad Friday, we would have been right around here at the 120. So most likely we're going to keep trading on top of that. But we have to keep an eye on the weekly, because if we close below this yellow line on the weekly, then yes, it's going to be showing a bearish trend for the following weeks. Hopefully it was just going to be something like this, where it bounces off the Bollinger and then it goes back up. So if it does close the weekly below, we're going to be seeing something like this. But if it keeps the momentum here, we should see something like this instead, and then something that goes on the upside. So let's keep an eye on this. On Ethereum, we're not looking so good because we're still below here. We should be closing above this today or tomorrow to be showing some strength, some continuity here on the uptrend. And especially because yesterday we had such a huge green candle. So today, I don't know if we're going to be going up still, unless Trump says something or Xi Jinping says something else and they start fighting. Then yes, we're going to have a lot of volatility, a lot of movement towards the downside, because whenever these leaders are fighting each other, it's never good for the markets. The markets tend to be a little bit scared and shaken. This should bring the price down a little bit more. The copy trading, we're actually doing good. We are at 1% here for the month of October. It is kind of scary to be trading in this very high volatility environment. So I don't know if we're going to have any trade soon, but this is fantastic returns from the team so far. Hopefully we're able to get maybe a 3%, maybe even a 4% here this month in October, which has been very, very volatile. So shorting volatility is a strategy that you could consider yourself if you're trying to make your own trades. If you don't know how to short volatility, we have right here some education courses. It is free for you to watch. You can go, for example, right here to the strangles, to the straddles, some inverse positions. I made this course so you can learn and trade by yourself if you don't want to do the copy trading strategy. So feel free to watch that and let us know if you want to learn anything more, and we can add this to the course. But before we end the video, Trump actually said that this could have been just a misunderstanding, making that green candle that I just showed you before. So this goes back to that whole idea of, hey, just a single tweet from a president of the United States is able to do so much damage, not only to crypto, also to the S&P 500, which fell 3%. It could have fallen more if the tweet was at noon, but the market didn't have the time. I don't know if it's going to bleed today or not. So we'll have to see when the market opens. By the time you're watching this video, you already know what happened. If it had that V-shaped recovery on the S&P 500, we don't know. But he shared a tweet saying that he didn't know. He's saying that it was a misunderstanding between him and Xi Jinping. And then he went back, I think yesterday or Saturday night, saying actually the tariffs are still going to be applied, 100% tariffs on Chinese products. So we don't know what's happening. Maybe he doesn't even know what's happening. We'll have to wait and see what all this bickering does to our portfolios. Unfortunately, for some of us, that wasn't good at all. This is why knowing how to hedge, and actually hedging, is very important. I've talked about hedging, protecting your portfolio a lot, but I thought that October was going to be, 30% in the green in the month. And we actually saw minus 20% in a single day for Ethereum, which actually was a huge blow for a lot of people, including myself. So hopefully you're able to remake that money. If you are in a situation where you lost a lot or you lost all of it, don't worry. I've been through this in 2021. Actually, January 1st of 2021, I got my wallet drained for everything that I had in Web3. I had the wallet drained. I think the video is still right here on YouTube, so you can watch that video. You can see I was in a different house. The whole YouTube channel was very different then. But throughout 2021, I made that money back. I made even more. I started studying more. So again, money is something that you can remake, you can regain that money. So your health, your family, your friends, these things are things that actually matter. So if you need, to talk to someone, you can reach out to us in the comments. On Twitter, you can find me over there. You can find BitTopics over there. We have Telegram groups. Most likely everyone from Web3 suffered some sort of losses this past weekend. So you can talk to someone which can feel your pain, because most likely they either now or in the past, they lost some money. So they know they can relate to that feeling. So take care of yourself, take care of your mind, just relax, and it'll all get better soon. Thank you very much. See you on Friday for another video. Take care.